Hello everybody, Andy here, and today I'm going to have my worst ever kill team hot takes. Now, as I went through all of the clips, it's a bit of a clip show, it's a glass half dead clip show, okay? This has actually been really fun for me to go back through and kind of see how right and wrong I was about a lot of things. So a lot of these clips that you're about to see are what I think are my most amusingly funny takes. There are two that I've not been able to find, and I'm just going to tell you those straight up because I think they're hilarious. But I couldn't find me actually just straight up saying these are good or these are bad, unfortunately, as I'm sure I did. I even know the video that I said one of them in. Anyway, these are my absolute worst takes in Kill Team, because there's not many people out there that just have everything they've ever thought about the game online. Well, I do have that. So I'm going to watch some clips of me with just the worst takes ever, and you can go ahead and laugh at me or agree that, hey, that was pretty funny in how bad it was. Now, we're going to get into that, but I would like to say, but of course, before we do that, I do want to give you a little bit of a subscriber-only benefit. So this is subscribers only, and if you are a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. Wow, wasn't that incredibly wholesome? The wholesomeness truly knows no bounds in the world of Glass Half Dead. Well, the channel? My channel is the world. Anyway, if you want that in the next video, like, subscribe, leave a comment right now. Okay, before we get to the clips, no, you know what? Let's do a clip first so that you can see the format. There are timestamps below if you just want to jump through my 5, 6 worst takes, whatever they are, okay? First clip. It's about Tau stealth suits. This was one of the first videos that I really did about Kill Team. It's me sat down with Steve Box from Vanguard Tactics. Kill Team had just released, and we had gone to, I went to his place and we recorded a battle report, and we also did this little ditty that ended up on my channel. So let's have a watch. Marines, they're there. I would recommend them to beginners, but let's not talk about a bit of flavour. But I still want to keep in mind durability. I still want to keep in mind an elite team. So we're going to go over to the Tau. Now, to call Tau durable and elite, that might confuse a 40k player. I'm not quite sure. Confuses Kill Teamers too. I'm going to say you should build your Tau to be a beginner faction is to just take 2 fire teams of stealth suits. So that's 6 stealth suits in total. You can replace one of them with some drones if you want to do that, but there's no need. Keep it simple, exactly. You only get shot when you want to get shot. Yeah. But you're still going to win. That's how great they are. Yeah. That's how great they are. There you go. Look. When it comes to content creators, we have to say stuff, okay? This is, yeah. We had to do a beginning, people want information, people want to know things. Content creators don't know anything else. We've only had the box for like 2 weeks longer than the average Joe on the street. So I hadn't played all of the different, I don't think I even had played stealth suits. I'm not sure I've ever actually played stealth suits, okay? So, yeah, basically, the concept was they're a bit more durable than normal Tau. There you go. And there's 6 of them, so logically it's elite. I think a lot of what I said in just there was incorrect, but the idea of what I said in the unedited version there is that I started talking about how you have to really learn how to play with the stealth field effect, which is true. Because also, keep in mind, this was one of the first videos that came out for Kill Team 2021. We didn't really understand how important, how far a 6-inch range shot actually is. That doesn't sound like much. Or how important an extra 1 inch on your move really is. Yeah, there you go. So, questionable takes, but there you go. Tau stealth suits are good for beginners. Okay, so next up we have my take on the Blooded. Now, I see you know what? Let's play the clip and then I'll lament my own psyche. And then it's Traitor Guard. Traitor Guard, the Blooded, I believe, from my first impressions, after having played 4 games with them, are going to be a really, really good beginner team. They're very straightforward, they're very simple, they do one thing, and they do it acceptably, and they teach you to play the game in a very balanced manner. You don't have a weird skew of either 14 models or 6, you have a nice, even, chilled out 12. What am I even saying? Oh, you don't have a skew. You've got 12 models, that's a skew. Anyway, so when it comes to the Blooded, I think... I'm trying to get into the mindset that I was in, right? You have quite a few models, so you can kind of throw a few away, and you have an activation advantage, and that is good. And yeah, you can probably just charge forwards and like you won't do terribly, but you will do terribly. They're not a good team for beginners. Arguably, they're like one of the worst teams for beginners, as proven by the fact that when Blooded released, they were genuinely the worst team. Everyone considered them the absolute worst team in the game, below many, many compendium factions at that point in time, until people came along and kind of said, hey, this is how you're meant to play them. And then we found out, and then they shot up in the ranks without anything actually changing in the game, but they suddenly got good. So, but for me to come out then and there and say this is a good beginner team, factually incorrect, don't really know what I was thinking, like genuinely. Next up, we have a little bit of a different take. This isn't talking about power levels. This is about reanimation protocols. So, reanimation protocols is possibly, it's a strong contender for the worst written rule in the game. And like just in the way you need to understand what it does, it's really complicated and confusing. And so when I was doing my my Shadow Vaults rundown of the high-tech circle, I you know, because what I was doing at the time in the video was I was saying, hey, don't read this whole huge page of text. This is what it does in layman's terms. And I completely did not understand. Let's watch the clip. And reanimation protocols, which is you return with D3 wounds if you roll a 3+ at the beginning of the turn. There you go. No need to say any more than that. Say more. Attempt to a reanimation early, which, as I've already said multiple times now, is questionable. Yes, so you can tell I'm confused by how things work, because there are abilities both on the on-day sheets and employs that allow you to attempt a reanimation early. That's not what they do, but that's what I have assumed they do because I don't understand how reanimation protocols work. So this is just straight up a bad take because, you know, when the service you're delivering as a content creator is you don't have to read this huge page of text, I'm gonna break it down for you, and then I break it down wrong. Yeah. However, I will say, although yes, I got that completely wrong, just go back and read reanimation protocols. If you haven't had it explained to you and had lots of people discussing online how it works, that one's not on me. Multiple times since reanimation protocols has come up, people think they're playing it correctly, and they're not. It's yeah. Could have used a few tweaks in the edit, is all I'm saying. Okay, then we have Phobos RC tier. Now, yeah, okay, Phobos RC tier. Let's see what I say, and then I'm going to tell you why I was so wrong. All right? No, I'm wrong. That's the whole point of the video. Yeah. Phobos? I'm going to put them there, mainly because we need to fill that section out, right?
Great
reason. They've just
had
buffs, and I think they are strong. Are they stacking up to other teams? Have they been given the tools? Not yet. I'm going to leave Phobos in C tier. I feel like they're not that bad. But I guess I've put them there, and I'm struggling. I think they have quite a few bad matchups, and they struggle to do multiple things at once. And unfortunately, some of their bad matchups are into the best teams. Sorry, the most common teams. So they don't really have the source that they need to be chugging on to take out Intercession and Legionary. You can kill them, but you're not scoring points while you kill them. Or you can score points, but then you will die. So that was, I think, a brilliant example of a content creator saying words because he has to say something, right? I said so much there that meant nothing. Like, and I even say it in the sentence. I'm like, oh, I put them here because I guess I have to put something here. Great. Brilliant. Thank you for that insight, Sir Content Creator. So I recall this. Phobos had just had their buff to Vanguard, I believe, and whatever they got, at least in their first line of buffs, if not their second line of buffs. I think at that point they'd been given something where they get P1 if they don't move. That's a bad. Yeah, I'm glad they changed that. So now you just get P1 instead of P1 if you don't move. And nobody had done anything with Phobos at that point. We had so Phobos basically had a terrible win rate. They hadn't won any tournaments. However, my main opponent that I was playing against at the time, a guy called Wes, for whatever reason, played a lot of Phobos. He considers them his team sort of thing. And he basically beat me with them, no matter what I played, every time we played. So I had this really skewed view on Phobos because the entire community is saying, Phobos suck. You can't win with them. They're not a tournament team at all. And then every time I play into them, I'm getting smashed. And I'm like, but how? Because he's managing to both, and this is before their current power level. This is when they'd only had their first few buffs. So yeah, just really weird. Really, real, what's the word? When you're, I can't think of it. But for me to then put them in C, that's just me ignoring my own experience and kind of going with the experience of the rest of the world. But then Phobos, I think quite soon after this, I think Ace won with them at Warhammer World. And then, as happens in the sphere, the wargaming sphere, someone proves something can be done and other people start doing it. Which is always an interesting thing. However, I will say Phobos have never dominated. They've never, even after that, even when other people jumped on them, because sure enough, if you go and look at the stats, Warhammer World, Ace won with them, and then Phobos, the actual playing, pick rate of Phobos zoomed up. Everybody started taking them to tournaments suddenly, but they didn't start podiuming actually that much more. So they're definitely a really interesting team that's all about skill. So it's definitely an interesting one. Doesn't mean that where's the guy I play against is skilled. Not at all. Just luck of the dice. He only rolls sixes. It's some bullshit. Anyway, 0 skill player though, to clarify. Cool. Okay. We then have Elucidian Starstriders. This has always been such a weird team for me. I guess I'm just going to play the clip and then not say much about it, but yeah. Elucidian Starstriders, if you don't recall, so in this video, I'm saying this is a team that needs a buff. Even though I don't really need the team, and then after, a month after this, they did get a buff. It wasn't a huge buff, it was just a few tweaks. And then after that buff, they dominated some tournaments. And everyone agrees they kind of suck to play against because they're very strong. But this is just before the buff. Again, it's this weird thing where what's changed is almost a change for visibility, to make people look at the team again. Yes, they did technically get statistical buffs, but they weren't huge. The buffs themselves do not account for the huge win rate increase. It's more, you make a change, people look at it for the first time because of the buff, and then win rates go up because people are playing and interested. I don't think many people are really playing these, which is crazy, because Gellerpox came out, and I think everyone's they were very obvious how you play. Very simple team. You run forwards, you kill stuff. People that play Gellerpox are simple. Elucidian Starstriders, they're another normal dudes team. We've got a few of them.
Terrible, 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 terrible stuff. No good. No good there. I would argue worst tack up in the game. Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about motive force.
Boring equipment that is overcosted, so you have to take extra equipment warrant. Their main issue is that they have average or below firepower, and they don't have enough bodies to make up for their fragility. Giving them all +1, preferably +2 health, and then just pray, because that probably won't be enough. But you can't give them extra models, because that's not how the box is sold.
I don't know much about Elucidian Starstriders. I never played as them or against them. I have nothing more to add. I will say, though, however I came up with these ideas, and I genuinely have no clue at the time, several people in the comments who are Starstrider players did leave the comment saying, oh yeah, I actually agree with you, they're two-threaded, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, you know what? Great. Because they could have also come back and said, Andy, I don't think you know what you're talking about when it comes to Starstriders. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right, I don't. Cool. Okay, the final one I have a clip for. This is my take on Chaos Cults. This is a good one. Power level wise, if I had to guess, I'd say this team's going to sit nicely where it should, in the 45 to 55% range, and I would assume below the 50%, which some people don't like, but I would say honestly, don't worry about it, it means they're not going to get nerfed, so good. Right. Guys, I don't know if I have an explanation for this one. I'm going to tell you the explanation, because I do. But it's a real bad explanation. It doesn't make me look good. So, Chaos Cults. I had played one game with them. I think I'd played it like 2 days before I recorded this. And I lost. I took Cults into Commandos. And I think I got tabled. Like, I got absolutely smashed. And I just assumed, oh, I guess they're not a great team. Incorrect. Chaos Cults are the team. Everyone agrees they are pretty much the most broken OP team that ever released in Kill Team. And there's me saying, yeah, probably below 50% win rate actually, mate. Yeah, not a problem. But hey, at least they won't get nerfed. So there you go. That one amuses me. Now, no more clips, because I couldn't find clips that say for these last two things that are my worst takes in Kill Team. I'm just going to tell you them. So, cast your minds back like a farseer seeing into the past. Okay, it was the Into the Dark season 2 of Kill Team 21, and we'd had our first year of Octarius, Open Balls, etc. We were all hyped for the second season. And do you recall Commandos? Now, if we jump forwards a smidge to around the time Chaos Cults Felgor released, Commandos were dominating. They were everywhere. They were the only thing that were holding back the tide of Felgor and Chaos Cults. Everyone agreed Commandos OP broken. 6 months before that, 6 months before, halfway through Into the Dark, nobody was playing Commandos at all. Literally nobody. They had a super low pick rate, and their win rate also pretty low. No, just nobody cared about them. However, I want to be real clear. They then got a buff. But before the buff occurred, in one of my videos, I said Commandos are too weak and they need a buff. I'm sorry, everybody. Commandos, they're on me. I don't know what I was thinking. I do know what I was thinking. Nobody was playing them, so they weren't winning anything. And so when you look at low win rate percentage teams, you have to assume that, you know, they need a buff. And for whatever reason, people just did not care about Commandos in the first 6 months of Into the Dark. They got a buff. They did not need a buff. Commandos are really, really good. And that's just a really interesting one. Again, the buff seems to be for visibility. However, the way the Commandos then went on to actually win had nothing at all to do with the buff that they received. The buff was fine, but not needed. The way they started, like, it was a really odd shift. It was like somebody saw Chaos Cults and said, oh, you know what, I reckon that actually commanders can deal with them. And so they came along and they said, oh, hey, did you know you can forward deploy 3 times due to the way that you can use a ploy before the turning point starts multiple times? Because the restriction for using a ploy once a turn only is in a turn. And before the first turn begins, you're not in a turn. So I can use my forward deploy 3 times in a game, right? And they was like, yeah, you can. And that suddenly meant that you could forward deploy 3 models. Yeah. So good luck with that. There you go. GG. And that was how everybody played them until they got nerfed and had that taken away. The thing is, everyone agrees that they are still a really, really strong team. Like, even after the slight nerf they've had, everyone top team, absolutely top tier team. There you go. And then you have my final terrible take, and that is Farstalker Kinband. When they received their first buff, I can't believe I can't find this clip. It's so annoying because I know I said it. Okay, when they received their first set of buffs, if you recall, cast your mind back. Farstalkers, sorry, I kept saying Farseer. Farstalkers released, and they were 11 models, is that right? Yeah, probably. 11 models, and they just sucked, and they were generally not a great team. A lot of people kind of accepted that they weren't a great team, and kind of the general consensus was they're not a great team because of how they play on Into the Dark, which is what everybody was playing in the tournament circuit at the time. That's why they had such a low win rate in the Into the Dark season. So they get their first buff, and it is, I can't remember exactly what they got, but they got an extra operative. They started hitting on slightly higher ballistic skills or weapon skills on certain models, okay? And I remember seeing an extra model and suddenly, instead of hitting on 4s, some of their shooters hit on 3s. That's basically all they got. And I was like, man, Farstalkers are going to dominate. This is too far. They are OP now. This is too much. I can't believe GW would overtune them like this. For those of you unaware, Farstalkers since then have only had more buffs, and they're still considered the worst team in the game. So, there you go. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? My worst takes in the game. Now, of course, I've had all of these hot, bad takes recorded on the internet for funsies. However, you, my good sirs and siresses and sirai, are free. You don't have your worst criminal thoughts committed to digital. But you know what? For fun, go ahead and drop. What is your worst take? In the same vein here, what do you think, did you think at the time was good and turned out to just be terrible? Let me know, because that's funny, I guess. But hey, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, wasn't that intensely, almost painfully wholesome? If you want some more wholesomeness in your life, do consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. But that triple hello was for free. You're welcome. And a thank you to you. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. This has been something. Bye.